Joining us now with more on Binali Yildirim's comments on Bashar al-Assad is Kilic Kanat. He is the research director at the SETA Foundation and assistant professor of political science at Penn State University. Really great to have you on our program, Bugra. Now, firstly, Turkey is changing its position here. It wants to take a more active role over the next 6 months in the war in Syria. What has prompted Turkey's softening of its stance in terms of Assad's role?
I don't think it is a softening. I think Turkey, in multiple different instances, expressed that in the first 6-month period, as agreed upon actually in Geneva too, the Assad regime can stay in power, but then it should be a transitional period, and in the future of Syria, Assad should have no role. So I don't see any major difference. What I see is Turkey has been, especially for the last 2 months, very active in terms of foreign policy. The rapprochement with Russia, rapprochement with Israel, and a more active role, a more active diplomatic role in Syria is somehow part of the same picture of being more active in foreign policy. Other than that, I'm not expecting a softening, in quote, in terms of Turkey's stance about Assad regime. And actually, the Prime Minister of Turkey made a statement a few hours ago, clarifying the statement of Prime Minister Yildirim and basically saying the continuity of the same position about Syria.
And Bugra, Syria's 5-year conflict has taken on an ethnic dimension, with Kurdish groups carving out their own regions and supporting the US-backed Syrian democratic forces in the fight against Assad. What are Turkey's main concerns about the potential for an ethnically divided Syria?
Whether it is ethnic or sectarian, the most significant thing is the new Syria that will be established shouldn't have the instability and civil war that Iraq experienced since the US invasion of Iraq in 2003. And the ethnic and sectarian landmines in the country basically created a civil war that led to the re-establishment of ISIS and the killing of hundreds of thousands of people, and also emergence of a failed state that export insecurity to not only to its borders, but now transnationally to other parts of the world. So Turkey doesn't want Syria at this point to become another Iraq or another hotbed for international terrorism, international criminal activity, and of course a humanitarian disaster. So it is very important to have a country that will not be divided along the sectarian, religious, or ethnic lines. That should be, I think, the red line of international community as well.
And just one quick last question, if I can, Bugra. Obviously, the world powers are intensifying their involvement here: Russia, the US, Iran, the Gulf states. What does it mean in terms of negotiating peace in Syria moving forward now?
I think the main negotiation should be on the first thing should be on stopping the bombing of the Assad regime, the civilians. The humanitarian disaster in Aleppo is reaching to a point that at the short term, the priority of all of the parties that are involved in this negotiation is to stop the humanitarian disaster. And following that, the other issues need to be discussed. But now there are siege and in several cities in Syria that will starve people, that is starving people actually, and constant bombing with the Umran baby that we see the videos of her a few days ago. It is something that international community shouldn't be accepting at this position.
Okay, Bugra, we'll leave it there for the time being. Thank you very much for your contributions on our program today. That's Kilic Kanat, the director at the SETA Foundation.